back on air and to talk some sports and basketball. Really.
Okay, all right. So,
Thank you.
everybody looking at us know why you're here. We're super excited, and I'm very sure the excitement is in the air. Even those who don't really follow basketball know there's something. You know how Americans funkify everything, so you know there's something in the air, and we're very excited. But let me ask you, how excited? Although I know there are issues about safety concerns and all that, but the games will restart.
Can I be honest? I think the safety concern is like the bottom of is on the bottom of all the ladder of everything. It's been well taken care of. As at yesterday, of all the tests they did, I think they did about 366. Nobody tested positive. They keep doing it every other day, and so they've managed to keep that bubble. Even the word bubble, it sounds really good. It shows this. So they managed to keep the bubble really safe. They have trackers on every player, monitoring what they're doing. You have to take permission.
But it's Florida, a place where the cases, some already calling it an epicenter now.
Yeah, and that's why they're in a bubble.
As long as they're not going out,
so the safety part has actually really been taken care of very well. The NBA have done a very good job in ensuring that there are no issues, and when there are issues, you're isolated, you're not coming out. But yesterday, they did test on everybody, and there were no positive cases, so it's a good one going into the start of the season. Beyond that, I think with all that is going on in the United States as well, with social justice and of course COVID-19, basketball sort of brings something more like a I don't know exactly what to use for it. I'm being very careful here, but it's like a relief. It's a relief of some sort, because now you can watch your big stars, people you adore. The players also can use their platform to also create that awareness that they want as well. So it's a mix of everything, and it's a sort of succor at this point in time.
All right. We also have, I mentioned earlier, Ayotunde Onabolu also will be joining us this morning, all the way from Texas. Ayotunde, good morning. It's been a long, long time. I know it's like 3 a.m. over there, right? Or 3 a.m. or 4 a.m.?
Nah, just a few minutes past 3 a.m.
Okay, wow. Thank you. Good morning. So I believe you're ready. I mean, we've been waiting. I've been seeing your tweets, monitoring your reports and everything, how excited you are that the NBA is starting tonight.
I mean, look, we've waited for well over 100 days for this day to come, and I probably am one of the most excited people on the face of the earth. Finally, some form of relief in these very torrid times we live in. I mean, right here, everyone is wearing masks. If you don't wear masks in Texas and you are in a public space, you will be fined $250. Your first offense. Your second offense, you will be completely arrested. So having to know that we are able to watch basketball from the comfort of our homes, we couldn't be more thankful for this opportunity, really.
For you, are you disappointed that you can't even go maybe see some of these games as you used to in those times and all that?
You know how they say half bread is better than nothing at all? I will take this one right now. Even though it would have been so nice to go there, cover some of the games, but man, I'll take the opportunity to watch the games from my house right now. Basketball is back. Who cares whether I'm there or not? I'm just happy it's all back right now.
Let me throw this one in quickly. Looking at it from the perspective of the players, all sportsmen these days get asked this question. Will it be the same without the fans? I know for you, all that matters is that basketball is returning. But for the players, not the ambience, everything, with the fans being there, there's a lot that the fans give to the game and give to the players. Will it be the same without the fans?
It would definitely not be the same. I mean, watching the games, they had scrimmages over the last 2 weeks. Just watching the games alone and realizing how empty the arenas, the centers are without the fans gives a kind of different feel. And from the player's perspective, whether you like it or not, the guys who play the games feed off the energy the fans produce in the arenas. And with that not happening, it kind of feels like a glorified practice session, right? Because there are no fans there. So you're having to compete against the other team without fans. And it just looks like, members of the same team having scrimmages just to try and keep fit. But then I don't think it will take away from the competitiveness of the games when they eventually start later on tonight, because it's just going to be 8 regular season games and then poof, The playoff comes like that. And, for some teams, what they do over the next 8 games will determine whether they will stay in the bubble in the playoffs or they will be heading back to join their families from wherever they came from. So, yes, it's not the same without the fans, but the competitiveness will still be very much on full display.
Interesting. Now let's take a look at the games for tonight. Femi is also in the studio here. I mean, you guys, well, great guys. So let's start with let's start with the games for tonight. Of course, the headline happens to be the game between New Orleans Pelicans and, of course, Utah Jazz. And we know that Zion Williamson, and he's is listed as questionable, might just have to face a late fitness test, so to speak, before we know if he's going to play for New Orleans Pelicans or not. But with the scrimmages that we've watched, I mean, the guys have been good, even without him.
Yeah. I'm not sure if it's a physical decision.
Okay.
It was because I think he stepped out of the bubble for some personal reasons, and he's back, but he's been, reevaluated to be sure. But they've listed him, and so it's likely he's going to play. With the way things are going. But the other angle that interests me is the Utah Jazz. The first player to test for COVID-19 in the NBA was Rudy Gobert of the Utah Jazz. It caused a little bit of issue, but I think he's also what saved, the league, because perhaps we wouldn't be at this position if he wasn't detected at that point. And it's exactly, I think, 141 days in between that space. All-star Donovan Mitchell, is ready. Virtually everybody there is ready. I think they have an injury issue with Bojan Bogdanovic, who underwent a wrist surgery. I think he's out. He won't be a part of the season. Yeah. But Joe Ingles should be able to step up from the bench to replace him in the starting five. In that one. The New Orleans Pelicans, I think everything is good. Zion will show up, even if he doesn't show up today. Subsequent games will show up, and we all just can't wait for it to start. Let's get going with it, and then we'll see how it goes. And I think the second game is what people look forward to, which is the LA Derby in Orlando.
Some people expect it to be the conference finals, but
it's still early days. I was talking to someone and I said, look, the analysis before that break, you can't hold on to it.
You have to throw it out of the window.
Yeah, you have to throw it out. It doesn't matter anymore at this point because everybody seems to be starting afresh from the same level that they were. Every team has the same opportunity, the same chance right now. Because, staying that long away from the game, it takes a lot out of those players. And really, we just hope to see which teams get in their groove as quickly as possible. Because that's what will determine, especially those who are trying to, struggle to get to those last spots. And New Orleans Pelicans is actually in that frame too. They are joint 8 with, I think, the Portland Trail Blazers, and I also think the Sacramento Kings and the Memphis Grizzlies as well. So they would also want to fight for these games because the earlier you get going, the better for you to stay in the bubble.
All right.
Yeah, that's the way it is. Ayotunde, for you, we've been talking about Zion Williamson and his contribution to New Orleans Pelicans, 23.6 averaging the points. That's what he had, in 19 games that he played when he returned from that injury. How much contribution do you think is going to make to this team for them to really be sure of making the playoffs?
We have to be very honest here. The Pelicans' hopes of making it to the playoffs would have a lot to do with how much Zion Williamson is able to produce for them. Make no mistake, he's an incredibly talented young man, has an exceptional athletic ability. He's always a fierce rebounder. He's always a terror when he's on the floor. And I'm sure Alvin Gentry, the coach of the New Orleans Pelicans, and some of his teammates will be thinking, we need to get this guy back because it brings a different feel. It brings a different dynamic. He's not like he's the only player they have to rely on. Brandon Ingram was an all-star this year. He's been playing incredibly well. In my opinion, he's one of the top, picks for most improved player of the year. But Zion is just a different kind of player. His presence on the floor frees up, the other guys to do a lot of things they do. When he's played only 19 games, in many of the games, his combination with Lonzo Ball, who plays point guard for them, has been absolutely incredible. And so you need this kind of energy on the floor, especially for a team that is just slightly outside of the playoff places right now and are hoping to, push the Memphis Grizzlies, who currently hold the 8th spot. So Zion will be key to them I know he's not had a lot of match training right now because, like Femi alluded to, there was a family emergency he had to go for. But hey, he's a basketball player. He wants to play, and I am almost certain we'll get to see some part of him when the game tips off later on tonight.
Yeah, we can't wait. But we need to go on a break now. We'll come back. We'll still continue with the discussion on the games coming up tonight in the NBA.
All right, that's it. All right, so let's continue from where we left it up. Ayotunde Onabolu is still also with us. So, Femi, for me, I don't know if I should also get ahead of myself. A lot of people are already talking about LeBron James, the fourth ring, and all of that. Should we be talking about that? Although, of course, he has credited Mike Brown for the turnaround in his game and all that. Now he's more defensive. A lot of people have said he wasn't an all-round player like Michael Jordan. Now, I think the argument is thrown out of the window. But should we be talking about a fourth ring for LeBron?
Yes, it's a valid thing to talk about. I don't think there's any player in the NBA right now that steps into a team and the team immediately becomes a contender like the personality of LeBron. The Lakers were struggling before he came through. Nobody knew who the Cleveland Cavaliers were till he got there. Yes, Miami Heat, had the reputation for winning with Shaquille O'Neal and Dwayne Wade, but they lost it at some point. LeBron James came in, they became instant winners. This guy has gone all the way through to, most finals consecutively than any other player. So he comes to that caliber. What makes it interesting is, he seems to be aging well.
Yeah.
It's like the older he gets, the more mature his game is. And he's also an athletic freak of nature. With his size and his body, he has, a combination of the Magic Johnson, playmaking skills, combined with, the Michael Jordan, ability to score. But a lot of people take jabs at him because, there are times where he ought to own the game and go for the kill, but rather he becomes the Magic Johnson at that point and decides to just dish to teammates. And when they lose, they put it on him. You are the alpha male. You should take responsibility. You are the leader. But you look at the team that he has. That roster is big. That roster is huge. When I say big, I don't mean in size. I mean, the depth.
Talent.
Yeah. He has Anthony Davis, who also is an outsider in terms of the MVP race. They've been able to add J.R. Smith, former teammate Dion Waiters as well, into that squad. They have Danny Green. Those guys have won NBA titles. Rajon Rondo is still there, meanwhile, though he's coming off a thumb injury. So that roster is good enough,
for a championship.
So it's valid to talk about LeBron. It's not out of place at all. But they need to fight for it, though.
Okay.
Before we go to Onabolu, let's listen to LeBron James, how his game has actually improved over the years, and he gives credit to who else? Mike Brown, when he was at Cleveland Cavaliers.
I'll probably give a lot of credit to Mike Brown. He came in with a defensive mindset, with a defensive strategy into Cleveland when he got the head coaching job, and told me, that he wanted me to be just as good as I was on the offensive end. He wanted me to be even better on the defensive end. And it started with a lot of communication. So, when I wanted to take that next step in my career, because I wanted to get better and I wanted to compete for championships, I started to take that leadership as far as my communication, being loud, speaking calls out, getting into the film session a little bit more, diving into that. Mike Brown was very high into watching film and breaking down our opponents and breaking down personnel. So give a lot of credit to Mike Brown on putting that type of pressure on me, which I loved, and became who I am today.
The pressure makes him better. Now, Onabolu, Aya, if you're still here with us, right? I mean, you just listened to LeBron, and right here, Femi has been talking about the fact that, look, this guy is good for the fourth ring. What do you think?
I mean, without question, LeBron right now, I think the pressure is biggest on him. A lot of people have said this might actually be his best opportunity to win the fourth ring because, like Femi rightly stated, the roster he's playing with is very big. Now, they lost Avery Bradley. Avery Bradley is one of those guys who decided not to go into the NBA bubble. But they added J.R. Smith. They added Dion Waiters. They still have Danny Green. Danny Green is a champion. They have Dwight Howard, who for some reason has had a very resurgent career playing with the Lakers this year. Anthony Davis is an exceptional talent. So I have no doubts that LeBron, and that's why, allow me to quickly say this, bookmakers here in America actually have put the Lakers as the favorites to win the title when all is said and done. And so you can understand why LeBron would feel in his heart that, you know what, I have to lead these guys. We have to go out there. We have to win this title. They didn't bring me to Los Angeles from Cleveland just to come make money. They brought me here to take on the legacy of the greats like, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, Wilt Chamberlain, Jerry West, Magic Johnson, and very recently Kobe Bryant. And this is an incredible opportunity. I like the fact that he gave praise to Mike Brown. Correct me if I'm wrong. Mike Brown is supposed to be the head coach of D Tigers.
Of course.
And I'm here and I'm like, okay, if the greatest player in the world today is saying Mike Brown made him who he is today, then bro, let's let the Olympics come quickly. I'm excited.
And now everyone is talking about LeBron James. Let's talk about this guy, Giannis Antetokounmpo. I mean, he's been saying that the win is now or never. He wants to win with the Milwaukee Bucks, and you have the Lakers as favorites. What do you make of all this?
I mean, Giannis is the reigning MVP. I think he deserves to be named MVP when this season is done also. But it's not just a function of, it's not just a function of who Giannis is as a player. It has a lot to do with the Milwaukee Bucks organization. Something crazy happened heading into the bubble. Now, players like LeBron openly put on their social media handles how much they've been working out and all of that. But you look at, in the case of the Bucks, the second best player in the Bucks, Chris Middleton, actually went to the bubble and said he did not touch a basketball for 1 second from the time the league was locked down until the restart right there at the bubble. And so I'm beginning to ask myself, what kind of culture are they trying to promote in Milwaukee? Giannis is entering the final year of his current deal next year. And Giannis has made it clear it's all about winning for me, meaning if they don't win this year, there's a possibility that he requests for a trade, or once his contract is up, he doesn't re-sign because he feels he has earned the right to not just be the best player in the game, but to be a champion, a title holder in the game. So that's the case with Giannis right now. So I'm not surprised if he goes out there playing with blood. And, his game has actually improved a little bit. He struggled with his jump shots over his career. This year, he's averaging a career high in the amount of 3 points he's attempting and making. And that's a good sign for the team. But the question is what happens on the long run should they not win? Because if you take out Giannis, you look at the rest of the team, I'm asking, who is that X factor? Who is that second guy? It's supposed to be Chris Middleton, but can you trust him at this big stage? I'm not sure.
Okay, Femi, back to you here. I mean, he said he can't even trust Chris Middleton. So it simply means the supporting cast for Antetokounmpo, they are not even there. Marks.
Yeah, but they had the best record in the league leading to this. So there's something they're doing right. And I think it's...
something they were doing right.
Well, okay, they were doing right. Yeah, I like that. And I hope, they can still keep that, which is the fact that, we are not superstars, but we are a unit. I'll borrow from the Golden State Warriors mantra, strength in numbers. And I think that has really worked. And they also have a very good coach, Mike Budenholzer, who is sort of like a defensive coach, a protege of Greg Popovich. And over the years, he's proven to be a solid guy. I'm sure they would have handled all of those fitness issues somehow, some way internally. And I totally agree with Ayotunde, when he says Giannis deserves to be the most valuable player, of the NBA this year. He's totally deserved it. He's worked, when a player comes off a most valuable player season, you sort of see it in the next year they come into, a little bit, lethargic, somehow, But Giannis has pushed up. He came to the season, the Toronto Raptors couldn't technically compete, with the drive and the power and the force that they've come with. And I think they'll be playing, they're playing the Boston Celtics in their first game in the East. And God's so good, Giannis will be going the way of LeBron anytime until the finals because they're in the Eastern Conference. So it's totally good for them. I think they'll use the next couple of games to just get themselves together because they are through to the playoffs already. And they'll get there. I think the picture is focused on the playoffs. And with the kind of mindset they have, and what Giannis is trying to do with that squad, they likely will be able to push through.
Okay. Ayotunde, before we let you go now, we know African players, of course, they're all there, the ones that will be, in the NBA bubble, 22 teams. And which are these star players you see it's going to be standard, Serge Ibaka and the likes, all these guys that will be standard for the team?
Yeah, I mean, I like Joel Embiid, but no disrespect to him. I think Pascal Siakam is my number one African player in the league right now. Considering the fact that after Kawhi Leonard left the Toronto Raptors for the Clippers, people thought they were going to crumble like a pack of cards. But guess who's the second seed in the Eastern Conference? It's that team, the Toronto Raptors, and Pascal Siakam, who had a breakout year last year, has actually taken it a step forward. He's an all-star this year. He's leading the team. And for people who have written them off, I hope they are thinking again because that team is very solid. And of course, Joel Embiid, come on, man. I mean, you can't take the shine off that guy. He is one of, when he's healthy, is one of the most devastating big men you can find in the league today. How is he able to lead the Philadelphia 76ers to victory? Well, time will tell. You mentioned Serge Ibaka, who has also had a good season by all standards, playing for the Raptors this year. So the African guys, we're expecting them to go out there to do what they can do. I was going to mention Giannis, but I remember last time I checked, he represents the Greek national team. Yeah, so yeah.
There's a name in between him now, Ugo. He has put one name in between.
He's trying.
He's got a middle name now, Ugo. So it tells you something, right?
Good for him. Good for him. Yeah.
All right, Ayotunde, thank you so much for waking up so early to join us. Of course, you know the NBA is back, and we will be calling on you most times.
Whenever you call, I'll answer. Thank you for having me.
Thank you so much. All the best. Yemi, let's just wrap this up. You know,
I wish we could continue.
Yeah.
I was really too.
but let me just talk about African players.
Because I was going to ask Nigerian players also.
Yeah, I would take a slightly different detail from what I said. I'll go for Ball.
Okay.
Ball is a rookie, drafted for the 4th pick, but he's been the player of the bubble. Everybody's talking about him. He's the son of the late Manu Ball, the second tallest player to ever play in the NBA. But what's been interesting about this guy is, was going to the NBA, he was a high prospect, but everybody seemed to have passed up on him. And then now he's taking over the bubble, and he seems to be helping the Denver Nuggets, who people are sleeping on, and who I think is a very solid squad. And a contender
for playoffs.
In the playoffs picture. So he's one player I'm looking out for. He's from South Sudan. Interesting guy. Dennis Schroeder is of Gambian descent, though he plays for Germany professionally. By Ayotunde standard, he shouldn't get into this conversation. but I'll still use him. Fantastic for the Oklahoma City Thunder. He's coming off the bench, but I think he's doing a great job. And he's a potential contender for the 6th man of the year.
Bam Adebayo.
Bam, yes. Bam is doing great with the Miami. It's no disrespect to him. Not to mention him, I want to. Well, yeah, he made
the USA
the squad for the US for the World Cup. Though he decided to, not pursue. Okay, I think they dropped him. They dropped him last minute. They dropped him. Yeah, I remember they dropped him. But Bam Adebayo too is also in the Miami's squad that is solid. Andre Iguodala is on that team as well. So adds a little bit of depth to what Jimmy Butler brings, and Dragic. They're also a team people are not looking out, but I think they can also spring surprises. But wait to see how it goes. Still early days.
All right.
Okay, let's just take a message coming from Terry Stotts. That's the head coach, of Portland Trail Blazers, talking about just how ready they are for the season.
We better be. That was the whole objective of these 3 weeks, is to get ready for that game. So yeah. No, we're ready. There's no question we're ready. I think our practices were probably more beneficial than our scrimmages, but playing extended minutes, playing a 9-10 minute stretch from a conditioning standpoint was probably the most important thing for us. We had a lot of practice time and did a lot of things that we wanted to get done in practice. So the games were more about just playing games. It'll probably be on a game-to-game basis. If we're treating these games as they are basically playoff games, is some of the rotations, some of the substitutions will be situational. It won't be I can't say that it'd be a set rotation for all 8 games. It's really, I think, whatever's necessary to win those games. You've been with me for 8 years, and you know that I do like to have a set rotation, and I think it's good for players to kind of know what to expect over 82 games. And but I don't think we have that luxury right now with these 8 games.
Right, let's wrap up the NBA with the fixtures for tonight. Starting with, we talked about the Pelicans and Utah Jazz earlier. The Lakers and the Clippers, of course, that's the headline, 2 a.m. Friday morning, wake up, no more sleep. The Nets and the Magic also in action. The Blazers and the Grizzlies will also be in action. Washington Wizards and San Antonio, the Suns will also be in action. You have the Milwaukee Bucks and the Boston Celtics. That's another big game to watch out for. Right. So the games we'll be watching out for: Lakers, Clippers, the Milwaukee Bucks, and the Celtics.
Yeah, Bucks, Celtics, although that will be Friday. And I think it's going to be, God so good, they've been able to manage to push the games a little
7:30
bit.
earlier.
Yeah, so it's a bit earlier in the day.
But the big one is 2 a.m.
Yeah, 2 a.m. I mean, yeah, but it will be also good to see the Nets and the Magic. Why? No Kyrie Irving, no Kevin Durant. We'll see how they'll manage. But our man that wants to play for Nigeria, the American, Spencer Dinwiddie, plays for the Nets. So we look to see, how well he will perform with the Nets before the playoffs start.
And on a lighter note, since the Olympics is 1 year, almost like that, so some other players can make up their mind.
Yemi Adebayo, please make up your mind.
Make up your mind quickly and join the fray.
Okay, let's just quickly run through Italian Serie A before we go on the break, right?
The results.
The results are from last night. Zlatan Ibrahimovic, I'm wondering, what's he made of? He scored 2 goals again. AC Milan, they've been unbeaten for 1. I mean, since he returned, it's more like he's made that team better. For Juventus, of course, they lost to Cagliari. What is it with a team that just won the league and you're losing? Verona and Spalletto's 3-0. Lazio and Brescia, yeah, that's where you have Ciro Immobile scoring goals there. And, of course, taking his tally to 35. And Ronaldo is still on 31. Juventus had that many shots last night. And he couldn't even...
and he just has one game to better whatever Immobile has done. I don't know how he's going to do that. Udinese and Lecce. Lecce won 2-1. Cagliari 2-0 over Juventus. Fiorentina 4-0 over Bologna. Torino lost 2-3 to Roma. Those are the results in the Italian Serie A. We'll come back to talk about all of the things happening in the Serie A and talk about Ciro Immobile and the race for the European Golden Shoe. All right, so let's go for that break. We're back for more on Sports This Morning.